Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you're having a glorious day. I really don't know how to talk about this topic or share this topic. And it's about morals, my own values, and how I get pushed around. And I say pushed around because people are trying to share with me their opinions, their thoughts, their beliefs. Nothing wrong with that. And it's on the topic of how I've been single, if you want to call it that, in the human experience for many, many years, 8 years or so. And the reason why is because of previous relationships, the marriage, the psycho I dated, the last person that just really, it was so insane that apparently by being at work, I'm cheating because I'm at work. I worked in government. I dealt with people all day, every day, and that apparently is cheating, you know. It just, the whole concept of a relationship was scarred. It was not worth it. So a few years later, I came into contact with Amy. Amy is the spirit guide, the guardian angel, the twin flame, all that sort of stuff. And we had a previous life where we met in 1969 in San Francisco, and we were murdered in 1971 together. And we used that life because of the amount of love that was shared between us. Okay, it wasn't perfect. No relationship's perfect. Not in the human form anyway. But in this experience of Stephen and Amy, where she's in the spirit form, the love is perfect because it's huge, it's incredible. And at times, you know, in my own struggles of self-worth, self-love, that it took a lot to overcome and convince myself that I deserve it because of these scars, these wounds, these traumas. So over the years, what I call the torment of prophecy started since 2011, 12 or whatever it is. I can't remember when. And they'd be like, you know who she is. And I'm like, who the... Like, they'll be saying things and like spirit, like you'd be at a psychic reading and it's like, oh, it's not a matter of if, it's only a matter of when, and it's all this sort of stuff. And I'm just like, what are they on about? You know, I'd be like thinking, who is it? Who is it? Who is it? Who's this person? And it just nothing made sense. Even to the point, it's like when I got triggered 2 years ago, it was like, oh, could it be? But then at the same time, because it's just potential, it's just possible, had to move myself into a position where it's like, well, I've got to be fine with this. The impact of the excitement, the impact of the trauma being triggered, just results me in shutting down and dealing with it and sitting in it and sitting in it and sitting in it. Because what I realized is that all these years, they've been deliberately triggering the trauma, triggering the wounds of around relationships, because I decided in one period in time that I'm just not going to bother anymore. And like went out to dinner the other night with a friend, and she's like, "Why don't you just date? You know, it's if you know something is coming, why not just date in between?" And I'm sitting there going, "Well, I have loyalty, I have devotion." And what's really interesting is the loyalty and devotion is to me, to my morals, to my ethics. You know, like the idea of being with someone without love, without being in awe of who they are, without wanting to share all of me with them, is kind of a divine moment. It'd be a bloody miracle. The way, you know, and I thought, and like over the years, I've had friends that are like, oh, just do it. It's just sex. It's just this. And I'm like, no. Because in that art of intimacy, when you share yourself with someone, You merge energetically. You merge with their history. You merge with their drama. You merge with their trauma. You merge with their chaos. You merge with their karma. And you absorb it and you take it on. It takes on average 7 years to clear another person's energy. You energetically merge, which means you're etherically hooked into them. You can cut cords, cut cords, cut cords. It's like no, 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 no. There are millions of cords every person is hooked into. Belief systems, structures, constructs, people, future, like in the future, in future lives, in future past lives, in present lives, in concurrent lives, in all these different things. There's cords everywhere. You can't just sit there and slice them all apart. You know, in the beginning of the year, or late last year, I had a conversation with one of the masters, and I said, "This just bothers me so much that people are trying to push," and it's like, no, 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 respect, because of this, I went, you know what? I've made the effort to be clear, and I'm not going to waste it on a 30-second job or a 3-minute job, because I want to be in awe, and that when you see, it's kind of interesting because even the masters have said in one of these channeling sessions in the past years, something that conflicts with my own beliefs. Because for me, what I find is that I don't want to rush into anything with anyone because I want to develop that friendship first. What I've seen over the years in my own experiences is that when I sleep with someone and I don't trust them, well, it's just because I've already slept with them. You've got those games at play. And I thought, no, 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 no. This time I want to do something completely different. I want to develop that trust, develop that friendship, and fall in love with the best friend. Because if it's not the best friend, and I am not afraid to be myself in front of them, then that is the friendship that I'm after, because I want someone who sees me and knows me and can laugh at all the funny things that I come up with. Like I've learned in the previous years and like previous relationships, that when you try to portray someone I'm not, you got to be cool, you got to look wealthy, you got to do this, you got to do all these rules and regulations and laws and all these behavioral things that on how to impress someone. You got to impress them. You got to, and I'm like, no, 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 no. I'm going to be me, And this is all new. Like I've got friends that I really express my filthy sense of humor. Like if I can't have that filthy sense of humor, that dirty mind, I'm not interested. Like it's just a part of me. And if I can't share that side of things, then really I'm just lying to me. I'm just putting myself down. And that's where this self-love, loyalty, and devotion steps forward. Because for me, a person is beautiful the way they are. Perfect imperfection, or whatever the phrase is. It's like if there's no such thing as perfect, then everything is perfect. Because if there is no unit of measurement for what perfect is, then in that moment everything's perfect, because there is no unit of measurement for. Therefore, it is. Everything is perfect as it is in that moment. I remember when one relationship, the person was going, "What do I need to change in me?" I'm like, "Nothing. I don't care." Because you are who you are, and that's who I'm in love with, the person that you are. The expression is what I'm in awe of. And often I see over the years in relationships and discussions that we're always trying to change who we are to impress someone. I'm like, no, 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 no. I'm just me. I don't need to move into alignment with anyone, because there is no one for me to move in alignment with, because I'm it, according to the masters. I'm already in the new earth. I'm already on this stuff, and it's all irrelevant, because it means nothing. It doesn't mean anything. I'm here in this experience. So when people are saying, "Oh, sleep around," it's like I can't, because for me it's not fair on them. For me, it's not fair on me. When I am sharing, like I've had a lot of discussions with people, and I'm deliberately not saying things. But in the discussions that I've had with, like even with Amy, it's like, how can you top a perfect love? But she reminds me that when there was Noah and Amy, our previous lives, it wasn't perfect. We were fighting, we were arguing, but the love was intense. It was intense, and it was very short lived. Very short lived. So I had to deal with the trauma of being murdered and all this sort of stuff, and acknowledge that what could have been was stripped away because of free will. So, and had to work with all this stuff, because the moment you open yourself, like even in the spiritual community of awakened people, of egoic awakened people, when, and this is an experience, someone who you thought you could trust, who I thought I could trust, it's like, oh, who am I going to tell? I watched them say, I said something in a professional consulting session, in a healing session, and that information went and got shared. They betrayed the trust. And it destroyed connections, friendships. I watched them play a game of power because of what they were doing. And if you can't trust those people that are healers or whatever, if you can't trust those that are saying that they're the light, because you see through it, you can feel underneath it that it's fake, that it's not true, that my own senses have been in a position where I'm able to understand who to avoid. That they aren't. When you have had so many experiences of seeing someone portray that they're all loving, to see that there is something hidden underneath, you can't stop trusting people. And that's when it starts becoming unfair on me, going, well, I'm here because I just want to. And you can hear in my voice, you can see in my responses that I struggle with this concept of trust, of the idea of having a relationship with someone. But I'm dealing with the fears. I'm dealing with it because if I can't, if you say something, so many people are like, I hear so many comments of people say they're going to do something, but then I don't follow through on their actions. And perhaps this is part of the questions that we need to start asking ourselves. How much do we put up with? How much do we just ignore? Because, as I said in the newsletter that just went out a week ago, I got rid of a friend because they were insulting. They thought it was being funny, sarcastic, humorous, but I saw it as a bullying and abusive. And then I just went, you know what, I'm telling them how disrespectful they are. They never said anything. They unfriended me. I went, right, and they got rid of them out of my view. The light sorted that out. But when it comes to yourself, be loyal to you. Be loyal to your beliefs. Be devoted to you. Because I can't give myself to someone who, I don't even know what the words are. They need to be something special. They need to be unique. They need to be extraordinary. I have put to the universe the wish list, because they need to be, if they don't inspire me, and if I don't feel that I can be open, then it's not fair on either of us. And I really I do take the other person into consideration when I think about these things. Like, I spend months thinking about things, going, if I cannot be open, if I cannot, it's not a sales pitch or anything. I'm looking for something very specific, not to be content, not to just fill a void. And if I feel like I'm filling a void, then I'm not going to bother, because me first. The thing is, I already know the answers. I already know who's coming. I already know what's coming. There is more than one potential. As the masters have said to me, this person is going to see me. This person is going to know my abilities. This person is going to be extraordinary. But I don't know when. I don't know how. I don't know where. But they're doing a lot of work. And I'm very grateful because of whatever they're planning, whatever they're organizing, whatever's being facilitated, whatever is going on, free will, everything. That in that space, in that interim, everything I've got to deal with is surfacing, which means I've got to work with it. I've got to work with a lot of these beliefs, and all of us are dealing with something, wounds. And I know there are many people that are afraid of relationships, because one of the things that I've decided to do is I'm not going to have a standard relationship, because I want something different. I know how much I can love, and it needs to be equal. Like with Amy, everything's equal. I love you equally as much as you love me. If you don't love me today, well, that's okay. I love you equally. I love you unconditionally. What I love so much about Amy is that I can be so frustrated with everything that I can just lash out. But it changes nothing. Like I was saying to her, I said, this whole concept of what we're working with is turning more into a nightmare than... And if I said that to anyone else, they'd be hurt by it, they'd be upset by it, there'd be arguments. But as I said to Amy, I said, this is just how I'm feeling in this moment. It feels like a nightmare. But I know that in this moment, everything's going to be okay. Because it's just a wound. It's just a scar. It's just a surface. It's just something that I need to dive deeper into. And I'm getting tired of it. Wounds after wounds, traumas after traumas. Stillness can be annoying. But we do what we need to do. We do what we must. We do what we have to. Because love is beautiful. Alright, I'll leave it there. And I'll come back to it because I don't know if I'm going to share this.